increase in the standard deduction. You get the permanent increase in the child tax credit. You get all kinds of business incentives for businesses to invest, make capital investments in this country, whether that's bonus depreciation, interest deductibility, R&D expensing, the 199A deduction, permanent death tax relief, something that I worked on. Those are all investments that are going to pay off, because what they're going to lead to is higher paying jobs, better wages for people in this country, more money in their pocket to take care of themselves and their families. And the other thing that was included in that, and you're starting now to see as a result of some of the things that we did, the reforms taking place, dealing with, for example, a Medicaid SNAP program, work requirements, eligibility checks, making sure that immigrants, illegal immigrants, are not getting the benefit of some of these programs. Those were all things that were also included in that piece of legislation that we passed last summer. And that's really coming into focus now because of what's happening in the state of Minnesota. We are seeing up close and personal a real example of how some of these government programs are taken advantage of, and benefits delivered to people who are not eligible. Our whole goal in that legislation last summer was to make sure that the people who are supposed to benefit from government assistance actually do benefit, and it's not being abused and gamed by states and people around this country. So we think there are just benefits that are going to continue to play out through the course of this next year for the American people, and we think this year, when they start filing their tax returns, it's going to be a good day for them, because they're going to have a lot more money in their pocket than they would have if the Democrats had their way and we weren't able to get the tax cuts, the Working Families Tax Cuts bill passed into law.
Mr. Leader.
Yeah.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good morning.
When the president talks about Cuba, talks about Colombia, talks about Greenland, is that just bluster, or do you take him at his word?
Well, I think the president has demonstrated, at least already, a very strong commitment to peace through strength, and especially in this hemisphere. And I think Venezuela delivered or got that message loudly and clearly. And I think other countries in this hemisphere who are cooperating with narco-terrorists or in league with China and Russia and Iran and countries like that need to be on notice. And so I think the president's this is not idle threats. I think his indication is that the United States is going to take care of America's vital national security interests, and that people in this region of the world ought to be working constructively with us to ensure that that happens. And in the case of the narco-terrorists, it's protecting a lot of Americans from the poisonous impact of illegal drugs coming into this country, or again becoming a safe harbor for energy interested by countries like Russia and China and Iran.
Do you think that the White House on their website said would blame in part the Capitol Police for the violence that happened on January 6th, 5 years ago? I'm curious whether or not you agree with the assessment on their website that says they're provocative tactics which turn a peaceful demonstration into chaos. Do you think the Capitol Police is partly blamed for the violence on the
I haven't seen what they put on their website, but the Capitol Police do a great job around here. This Friday is Law Enforcement Day, and we will honor and express our appreciation and gratitude to the men and women who serve in law enforcement across this country, including the Capitol Police, who protect this building on a daily basis.
Do you think that any health care deal to address these health insurance premiums rising has to include some form of the Crapo-Cassidy proposal to establish HSAs? Democrats aren't thrilled about it. Will Republicans insist on some form of HSAs being part of the deal?
I think any deal that ultimately comes together that could get the necessary votes in the Senate. Can't speak for the House, and obviously the White House is going to have their own views on this too. But to get a majority in the United States Senate, and a healthy majority, I would think, one, you would have to have reforms. So you'd have to deal with the income limits. You'd have to deal with the $0 premium issue and make sure that everybody at least is paying something for coverage, so that the insurance companies can't game it and auto-enroll people and then have the money flow directly to them. And then the second component would be some sort of a bridge to HSAs, an expansion of HSAs, so that you're getting more money into the pockets of the American people, the patients, if you will, the consumers, as opposed to the insurance companies. And then finally, you've got to deal with the height issue. I mean, those, I think, are the kind of the big three when it comes to something that could get through the Senate. And I know there are discussions going on right now with some of our members. We'll see where that goes. Ultimately, we want to ensure that if we do anything, it's done in a way that reforms these programs and protects ensures that those dollars aren't being used to go against the practice that's been in place for the last 50 years around here when it comes to taxpayer dollars being used to finance abortions, and that it also has this movement in the future toward HSAs and more utilization of those.
Venezuela.
Thank you. On Venezuela, President Trump has said he expects the U.S. to spend billions on the Venezuelan oil infrastructure, and that he expects to work with U.S. oil companies, meeting with them, and pay them back. How do you see using U.S. money, and do you think the Senate is ready to pass that? I assume you think that the Senate wants to approve that for that, and also to Frank's earlier question, do you think Capitol Police have a role in causing genocides?
Well, first, on Venezuela, my view is that the Venezuela energy industry, which is in cahoots with China and Russia, is now going to need to start working constructively with the United States and with energy companies here. And what will happen if that actually takes place is that you will start seeing the people of Venezuela benefit from the energy industry instead of having the folks that they're in league with in China and Russia. So my view is that it's not going to be a cost to the American taxpayer. This ought to be revenue coming into this country if we're working in a way with Venezuela, and hopefully that an energy supply, a commodity that can benefit the Venezuelan people, which is something that I think they should derive some benefit from. And right now, their leadership, because they are corrupt and in bed with narco-terrorists and in bed with China and Russia, the people in that country are not seeing the benefit of something that they got, an energy resource in this country that ought to be to their benefit. And again, I would just say, with respect to, we all here support 100% Capitol Police and the job that they do around here on a daily basis.
Thank you.